What's up, my people? Today is the wonderful day of e-brake issues. I'm pretty sure my e-brake seized up. I was kind of rubbing, I could smell like, clutch kind of, brake pad, that smell. And last year when I was racing at the track, my ETs were down, you know what I mean? So that's why, and it could be, I don't know, it could be. But I know something's rubbing back there. I don't know if it's the caliper or if it's the e-brake pad, the e-brake seized. It most likely is the e-brake. I use my e-brake way too much. I'm always a safety first OSHA kind of guy. But I gotta stop doing it because it's not good for my e-brakes. So here's a video on caliper removal and e-brake setup / repair, replace. All right, let's get to it. All right, here's caliper removal, just 2 bolts, nice and easy. Well, the caliper seems loose. It's, I thought that was sticking, I guess it's not. Because if it was sticking, it wouldn't have come off that easy. And the pads are in good condition, that's good. Roji actually swapped these out a couple years ago. Nice and thick. Thought they'd be a little worn for all the burnouts and brake stances, but all right. So yeah, that's my e-brake. I want to pop this rotor off and maybe just get some PB blast and squirt everything. I gotta take a look inside though. Let's pop that off. Here's the original and first set of Core 4x4 made for a 4th gen about 5 years ago, I believe. And still holding up. Bushings are fine. And I got the joint pointing towards the front of the truck. No issues at all. And these are extra hard poly bushings, so yeah, I'm wicked happy with those. Those are awesome. Awesome. Thinking about getting the lighter version maybe. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Probably gonna leave them. All right, let's pop this rotor off. Oh. Yeah. Smells like brakes. So, pads are broken on the e-brake. Wonderful. The rotor's fairly new, so I'm just gonna replace the pads for the e-brake. And that was it. That was definitely it. There you go. That was it. She's spinning freely the way she's supposed to. Probably the reason why I got a 12.7 and not a 12.5. Slowing me down at the track. But can you imagine, you're racing and when your calipers is sticking, your e-brake sticking, you get crazy times. You should be getting what everyone else is getting. I doubt that's the problem, but this is definitely an issue. I'm glad I figured it out. All right, I gotta take that all apart and get new pads. All right, first thing you're gonna wanna do is take this spring out. It was in here. I already did it because I couldn't hold the camera. It's pretty simple. It goes in that hole and in that hole. Pop it out with a screwdriver or needle nose pliers. Then you have the adjusting wheel that goes in here as well. That comes right out. That's just resting with pressure. So once you take that spring out and open it up, the wheel will come out. Here's the wheel. And once you have that loose, you're gonna see, right, I already took the clips out as well. These little pins that go behind here. You'll see a hole. This clip will be inside. Just get a screwdriver and a hammer, just pop them off. And then it releases these. They're on both sides. That little hole right there, that's where the pin was in the clip. And once you get it like this, there's 2 more springs down below. You can either use a screwdriver or needle nose pliers and pull out of the slots. They're in there and they're over here. It makes it way easier once all that's out, the wheel and the spring here and the clips. You can now disassemble this. I got this one off with a screwdriver. There you go. Once the springs are off, it all comes apart. And it's clear. Oh, also make sure your freaking e-brake is off, because you won't be able to take that off. E-brake should be off. And I have mine on jack stands so I can rotate the wheels. See? In case I gotta rotate them. Because on the installation, sometimes the back of these studs can get in the way. You gotta rotate the wheel. Let's put it back together. I did get a new kit. I was gonna reuse this because it's OEM and they're in pretty good condition. Yeah, they're rusty, but they're in good condition. The pins are in good condition. The only thing I was going to replace was the pads. These are the pads. I had to wait 6 months to get these. I'll give you the part number for these as well. It was recommended by a few people I know to get a kit, and the kit's only $21.99 at AutoZone. Right here. Here's your part number, 87936. Yeah, it's made in China. I mean, it's not as good as OEM, but it's just it's a hardware kit for your e-brake. And these are the parts right here, all brand new parts. I am reusing the OEM wheel because the dial turns better on the OEM ones. I know for a fact. Been doing this a long time, man. I used to have drums in my 81 Ford. The OEM's ones are the best. I am gonna use a new sleeve because the other one is ugly, but this is already lubed up too, but I'll lube it up again. And I'm saving the other parts for the other side. What's cool about this kit is it gives you the left and right hand side for 20 bucks. So it's $10 a side. I mean, that's good. I think the dealership was like 45 bucks for the kit. And these are the pads for the e-brake. You buy a set I went to Mopa. I went to the dealership and they give you both sides, left and right. And there's the part number for those. And that's made in China too. Look at that. Mopa, made in China. Love it. So now, made in China. It's great. Let's do the assembly. Look at the pads. Oh, they fell out. When I took this apart, they fell out. Let's start assembly. I'm gonna hook up my camera holder so you guys can watch me do this. I'll try to do it in a step. Wonderful. Every time. I'll do it in a step-by-step format so the installation is easy, because the installation can be very difficult. Very difficult. If you're in a bad mood, you're better off just waiting until you're in a better mood to start this, because you're not going to like it. And I'm going to show you the best way I know how to do this for you. All right, let's go to it. All right, quick heads up. When you get the kit from AutoZone, these two white ones replace these two. All right. The green one replaces the spring at the top where the wheel was. And everything else is basically the same. Also, just a heads up for anybody that hasn't done this before, there is a door. This is the driver's side, so it's on the top. The passenger side, the door is on the bottom. It's a rubber grommet that covers the door for the wheel. When you go to get your rotor off and it's stuck after you tapped it, so you go in behind, take this rubber thing off like that, and you can loosen the wheel so the pads take pressure off the inside the drum, and it'll come off a little easy. I should have mentioned it before. They do give you new ones in the kit, but I'm keeping my old ones. I'm gonna keep all the new stuff for later if I need it later, because I don't need it now. All right, here's your new Chinese pads. Because this is the driver's side, the adjustment wheel will be on the top on this side. Where it connects to the e-brake, where the pressure plate is gonna be on the bottom. So on the driver's side, you see two notches, okay? The two notches go on the top where the wheel goes. I'm talking about the notches right here, these two little notches. Now these notches in the frame of this go on the bottom, and that goes on the top. So your wheel goes here with the large notch, and the little notch is where the e-brake plate goes. And this rests on the, there's a shaft down there where this rests. So again, this is the driver's side. I'm gonna hook the springs up, and I'll show you in a second. Because this is the driver's side, we have to do it a certain way, so I like to put this going that way towards the back of the truck. The front of the truck's this way. So one spring goes there, other spring there, and yeah, it can go up or down, it doesn't matter which one goes in first, whatever, as long as they're hooked in like this. There you go. That's assembled. That's how it should look, just like that. Now what we're gonna do It's kind of tricky, but we're gonna put this in. See that tab right there? Right there, that tab. If you put the pads this way and rotate this way, you're gonna hit that. So I like to go this way, this side, and come in. And that spring on this side needs to go over this. So we're gonna put the pads in, slide down and go over that. And it's not easy, but I'll show you how I do it. Again, these studs, the heads get in the way, so you might have to rotate this a little bit. That's why I have it up in jack stands. All right, and yes, these springs are gonna fall out about 48 times. They will. It's just the way it is. All right, so I have it positioned. I'm gonna take the camera. I'm gonna show you exactly what I'm talking about. This spring needs to go over that plate. All right, that's progress. See, I had to rotate this because one of the heads of the studs was stopping this from rotating. And once you get that spring, you know, a percentage of it, a small percentage of it on top of that plate, you want to position this pad to go in between that notch and on the shaft right there. Just like that. It just slipped in. You gotta try to do this without having the springs fall off, so try to keep a little tension on it. Okay, so this is in. It's in the notch. It's in the notch, and it's on the little shaft right there. I'll give it a little push to make sure it's seated good. That's in. Now I'm gonna take this side, pull it, and get it onto where it has to seat on that side. So this, I gotta pull up to get into that slot. Whew, almost lost the finger on that one. Here you go, they're on. This one came out as I was putting this one in. I got this one in, and I pushed this one back in. And that's what you want. Once they're in, it'll rock back and forth like that. What I'm gonna do is make sure that the springs didn't fall out. See, once it's in, it'll rock like this, and you can open these up and make sure your springs are still hooked up, and they are, so that's good. That's like the hottest part, literally the hottest part of this job. All right, next step, I'm gonna put a clip in behind here, the hole, put the pin in. I am using the OEM ones because these ones slide in so much easier than these stupid things that they give you from AutoZone, because you got to go through here, put pressure on that and try to turn it, and it's not easy. So I'm not using these. I'll save them for another time, but I'm not using them. No way. All right, the wheel on the driver's side points to the front, so I'm going to put this in as a spacer for now. All right, now I have room to work here. I'm gonna grab the OEM pin, it's in good condition. All right, got the OEM clip, it's in good condition. Yeah, it's rusty, so isn't everything else in the truck. Don't worry about it. Putting the pin through the hole in the back. I'm gonna line it up with the hole on the shoe. Pins through the hole in the shoe. I'm gonna grab this clip. It kind of goes on a slight angle, it doesn't go this way. Kind of goes with the angle of the shoe like that. Push on this to get it down, and then push up like that, so it's on. I like to keep it, you know, a somewhat same space around the shoe right there. That's on. Those are way easier than the AutoZone ones, just a heads up. I'm gonna take my wheel out because I was using it as a spacer before. All right, pin is in on this side. I'm gonna put the green spring in next, the top spring that goes in the hole on either side of the shoe. It's about a 1/2 inch in. All right, there you go. I have my screwdriver in the hole for the other pin. I'm using that right now as a leverage because there's a little bit of tension. And now I'm gonna get the wheel, the adjustment wheel with the sleeve. And the head of the nut does go that way. You wanna loosen it a little bit. Bring this wheel towards the nut a little bit just to make it a little loose, because you do have more meat on your pads now. So you're gonna need to adjust that anyways. I'm gonna be careful not to pry too much, so this pops off and a spring falls off. You're gonna be doing it all over again. That's a little tricky, but you can get it in. You want to make sure it's seated good in their designated corresponding spots. All right, because there you go. See, that's sat better. Want to make sure it's down where it's supposed to sit. Just make sure this wheel and its housing is all the way down, because you don't want that wheel touching the spring. You won't be able to adjust it. That way this wheel is still turnable. It's only about like literally 3/30 seconds of a space between the wheel and the spring. I'm gonna be honest with you, whoever invented the drum brake is either the stupidest person in the world or the smartest person in the world. They haven't figured it out yet, because we don't use drums anymore, we use disc brakes. But for e-brakes, some vehicles like the drum. I don't know why. This was just an old Dodge thing, and they still use it. I don't know if they use it in the 2022s, but 09 to 17, this is a 2017, they still use it. All right, everything's still seated good. That's all set. Wheel is in, spring is in. Checking down below to make sure nothing fell out. Again, those are good. And those are good. I like the fact that these springs are white, because you can see them really good. All right, next step is I'm going to put the clip, retaining clip in the pin through this side, like I did that side. Just trying to zoom in for you guys so you guys see what's going on here. Again, I am using the OEM pin and OEM clip because they're way easier to install. This side is going to be a little trickier because you don't have the same amount of movement that you had before, because the other pin is in. You guys can use any tools you want, whatever it takes to get things in. All right, that one's in. I saw some guy on YouTube using a body panel remover tool. It worked pretty good. I don't have one. You know, I just got Big Red. This is my baby. I use them for everything. Opening paint cans, removing clips. You know what I mean? All right, that's all set. Keep that space right there somewhat the same against the shoe. And that is it. And that is it. Now my wheel dropped. Of course it did. So I'm gonna put it back in place. There you go. Recheck everything and make sure everything is sitting properly. Springs up, wheels down, wheel rotates, axle rotates without any rubbing. We're good. Springs are still together. Make sure the wheel rotates. It does. It's not rubbing against anything, so that's good. So we go to adjust it, it won't fall out. Spring is in, adjustment wheel is in, seated properly. Clips are in. I use the OEM ones again. They go in way easier. Springs are on the bottom are in. They're in, and they are clear of any obstruction. They're not rubbing against anything. Again, this is the front of the truck. That wheel points that way, and the long wire part of the springs aim in the back. Just easier to go over that little tab I talked about earlier that you can't see now. Well, it's right there. All right, that's it. I'm gonna put the rotor back on, make some adjustments, and put the wheel on. We're good to go. All right, before I forget, I should have done it before. There are mating surfaces over here against the shoe, against this back plate. And when these open and close, when you use the e-brake, they rub against this. You don't have to, but if you got some grease, AutoZone does give you some grease with the kit you get, the e-brake hardware kit, and stick a little bit there, in here. And there's also a spot, basically this crimp, these crimps are the same on the other side, and they rub against the housing. So you want to put a little grease there. What I'm gonna do right now is pull these out a little bit, just stick a little bit in there without getting on the pads. You don't want to push against the element. You want to push against the frame of it, not the shoe. Right onto that crimped area. Go back and forth so it gets it nice and gooey in there. All right. Also, I forgot to mention that grease is for this wheel. If you're using everything new, I'd recommend putting a lot of grease on those threads so this wheel is easy to turn. This one is the OEM one. It was very greasy, so I didn't add any additional grease to it. I mean, if you do forget, pry it open a little bit, turn the wheel to get some space in there for the grease, and just stick a little on a screwdriver and touch the threads. A little more pressure and put it back where the wheel was, and get that grease. There you go, all over the threads. That's if you forget. I decided to add more just to show you if you forgot. All right, I got grease at the pinch points. It's nice. Let me get the rotor now. Slip the rotor on. All right, if that wheel is adjusted too much, this won't fit on. That's why I said if you're using your OEM one or if you have a new one, make sure the space from the head of the nut is about 1/8 inch. It should be good. It'll go even a little more loose. And you can hear it rubbing. You want to make sure this is all the way on. All the way on. Turn it. You can hear it rubbing. That could just be because everything's new and it needs to be seated a little bit better. So I'm gonna go underneath and mess with the bar. All right, so I'm gonna get my screwdriver. Just put it in here and play with it a little bit, just to wake everything back up, get it back to functioning. All right. As you can tell, it's rubbing a little bit, so I'm gonna go back in the adjustment wheel, pop off that rubber grommet, and adjust the wheel so it eases up a little bit. On the back, the rubber grommet's off. I got a screwdriver. They do have adjustment tools that are bent that make it way easier for this. I'm just gonna adjust as I need with my screwdriver and keep turning the wheel until it's a little more play and not so much rubbing. All right, I got the wheel adjusted. I had it adjusted a couple times. Pushing this rotor in and turning it, it's clear of the pads. Some guys like to have it just touch barely. Me, I'm gonna learn to not use my e-brake so much, but as long as it works, I'd rather have it not touching at all because it's nice and quiet right now. Now I'm gonna run in, hit the e-brake, press it down all the way, and let it go. Check it again to make sure it's not rubbing. I'm also gonna hit the e-brake, come back out, and make sure it's stuck so it's working. All right, e-brake is compressed. Yeah, this ain't moving. And you'll know, I understand that the other side works too, but if this was loose in any way, this rotor would shake, and it's not moving. It's very tight. It works. There you go. Beautiful. I am gonna go on the other side to adjust that side because I haven't used my e-brake in a long time because I was waiting for this part to come in. I actually had taken this out and this video was chopped up for about 6 to 8 months ago. So I am getting a little noise on that side. I'm gonna take the grommet off and back the screw out just a little bit, or I might even take the wheel off and check the pads. This probably might have to be done as well. I'm gonna put the rubber grommet back on, cover the wheel. You do wanna keep that on there. And they do give you new ones with the AutoZone kit. Make sure it's nice and on. Put the caliper back on and the wheel, and this side will be done. Just a heads up, when your caliper's off, don't ever depress your brake. If you do, and you have to, put a clamp in here to keep the piston from coming out. But if you're just taking this off and you're doing this, the housing, the e-brake housing, and this comes off, it'll go right back on. As long as nothing touched or depressed the brake pedal, you'll be good. A couple of ooga doogas, that's all it needs. It's just holding on a caliper. Ain't gonna go anywhere. Ooga dooga. That's it. Beautiful. Hey, if you guys, anybody know where to get black lug nuts that do not rust? Comment below, please. This is like my 3rd set, and they're not cheap. and they just rust. All they do is rust after like a year. I mean, these wheels came off a lot. When I was going up to the track, I was putting my prep tires on. Damn, man, these things. All they do is rust. Look at them. They're bad. Wicked bad. All right, this side's done. Again, if you guys know any lug nuts that don't rust, let me know, please. This is absolutely ridiculous. Ruining my rims. So this side is done. Turns nice. Just gotta check the other side real quick. So on the right side real quick, I did pop off the grommet. It is on the bottom on the passenger side right here. I turned the wheel. The wheel is pointing to the front, so I turned it this way. I went up with it to bring it closer to the head to relieve tension, and it is very nice now. I'm not even touching, like, watch. I'll spin it, and it's moving freely now with no noise on both sides. I ran in a couple times, pushed the e-brake, let it go, pushed it, let it go, came back out, adjust, keep doing it until you hear nothing. Some guys that race do like to remove their housing, which is understandable, but for us daily drivers, you know, even to get the inspection sticker, you're gonna want your e-brakes working and functional at all times, but at the same time, you do not want them rubbing because it will hurt your ETs when you're at the track. That's moving freely. Very nice. Very freely. Very nice. Pedal still stiff. Yeah, that ain't going anywhere. So this job is complete. E-brake housing / assembly pad replacement is complete. Guys, there you have it. That is the emergency brake hardware replacement and emergency brake shoe replacement. Kind of showed you the caliper. Caliper's really easy. I hope this helps somebody out. If you guys have any questions, comments, feel free to comment below. Like the video, subscribe. And again, safety first, guys. If you're going onto your truck, even with the jack, even with your tires on, put in jack stands. You don't want to get squished. Keep wrenching, keep cranking. Till next time, TunedRAMS out. Peace.